And we have a great guest, someone who is definitely a huge patriot. You know him as the Milwaukee County Sheriff. He's also always on Fox News and on The Blaze. And also Sheriff Clarke, his father served in the military. Sheriff David Clarke, we love you. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks a lot. I love you back. You guys are great. What I like to tell people, Rita, is I say I'm always on Rita Cosby Show.
And I say, hey, I know a Sheriff David Clarke. You know what? You know what? When we were talking about the Troopathon, Melanie and I were both saying, who would we want on? And part of the reason we love you, Sheriff, is that you are such a patriot. You love this country. You care so much about border security, about freedom, about our troops. Tell us how you got so patriotic and what you want to tell to the folks at home as well.
Well, it's from my upbringing. You know, patriotism, as you know, is a virtue. A virtue is a redeeming quality, and it's something that has to be instilled in people. And from a very early age, my father did that with us, with me specifically. Took us to 4th of July events, other parades, waving the flag. He insisted on that. That was a big deal. And so I grew up with that sense of patriotism. And then you couple that with the fact, as you said, and I appreciate that, my father's a Korean War veteran. U.S. Army Airborne Ranger, several jumps under fire, did some combat duty. And so he gave me my stake in America, and that's why I bleed red, white, and blue. I love this country, even with all its warts. There's no doubt when you go back in time, you look some of the things that have gone on in this country. I mean, look at my father's service, for example. He served when the Army was still segregated. He, more than anybody else, would have a reason to have come out with a chip on his shoulder that he served his country, you know, sacrificed potentially, you know, his life in doing so for an army that was segregated. But he was never bitter about it. He never allowed us, never allowed me to wallow in the you know, some of the bad things that went on in the country. It was always about the promise of the future. And so when I think about the troops serving today, I think about that same sort of thing, the sacrifice that they're making, the being away from home. I mean, anybody who's gone away to college, you know, when you get things like care packages, you know, that's a big deal. It lets people know that people back home are thinking about them, and that, you know, we pray for them on a daily basis, and I do, because freedom, as you know, has to be protected. Somebody has to do it. I do it on a local level at home for nearly 40 years, put on the uniform that I have to go and protect my community, put my life in harm's way so that others don't have to. And so that's kind of how I look at our active duty members that are out there, and, you know, God love them.
Sheriff, you know, one of the things that so many people know is that law enforcement, many of whom are former military themselves. So I'd just like to throw this out to you. Why don't we challenge all law enforcement out there watching us right now to make a donation? It doesn't have to be big, because we know that you guys aren't making zillions of dollars.
You should be making more.
Yes, from us to God's layers. But we'd love to see if law enforcement could throw in a couple of bucks into the kitty here so that care packages can go overseas to Iraq, Afghanistan, and every hot spot across the globe.
Yeah, and Sheriff, what do you want to say to the military folks and other folks who are listening, especially, you know, how important it is to not forget our troops? You talked about these sort of remote places. It's so important.
Yeah, we can. And for them, you know, it seems like a faraway land almost, you know, that they go to, these remote areas, as you said. You know, keep up the fight. Thank you for your service. To all active members of the military, active people who are in harm's way. Thank you for protecting freedom for us. But I'll do you one better. I will donate $100. You tell me how I got to get it in, who to send it to, whatever, and then I will challenge every law enforcement person listening or knows about this Troopathon. You don't have to do 100. You don't have to match it, you know, but give something because I did, and I always put my money where my mouth is. So
well, you know what you have to do, Sheriff? Also tweet about it too. You have so many Twitter followers who love you.
You have an army of Twitter followers.
Get the army going.
Fire up the army. Thank you for your $100 donation, and thank you for the challenge to all the other law enforcement out there. But mostly, thank you so much for what you do each and every day, keeping all of us safe, watching our backs for us. There's no way we could ever express our appreciation to you.
Yeah, Sheriff, we love you, and thank you for your father's service, and thank you to the challenge to all military. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you guys back.